Hey, welcome back to a second chance. My name is Philip Jones.
Hey, and I'm Tafaro Cook, two-time kidney transplant recipient and founder of Kidney Care Coaches, where we coach stage 3 to stage 5 kidney disease patients. So look us up at kidneycarecoaches.com.
Cool. So today we got a little bit different show than normal. We're gonna talk about some things that's going on in the transplant community. Have some conversations not only amongst ourselves but with you guys as well. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. If you have any comments, put them in the comments. Let us know. We definitely like to keep it interactive with everybody watching. So please, don't be shy. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is a quick video on YouTube for us to watch. It's actually the world's first head transplant and what's involved in that. And it's a doctor that's going to speak on exactly kind of what happens here in this process and what's going on. So give me a quick second. Let me get this going.
Is Mr. Matthew Crocker. He is a consultant neurosurgeon at St George's Hospital. Welcome to you. Indeed, let's just look at this process. And according to Dr. Canavera, the first stage will involve the patient and donor's bodies being cooled down so the brain cells don't die during the operation. And then the neck will be partially cut through. And the blood vessels will then be connected to the other body with a tube. So far, so simple.
So simple, yes. I mean, I haven't done any of these myself recently, but in theory, every section has a grounding in.
Give it a second.
In science and in a certain amount of medical practice. So the practice of cutting or excluding blood vessels that supply the brain from circulation and then restoring that circulation temporarily to the brain with tubes is very well recognised.
And what do you gain from lowering the temperature?
Again, lowering the temperature of the whole body and hence the brain to between 10 and 20 degrees, usually around 15 to 70 degrees, is a very well recognised technique used for complex neurosurgery or cardiovascular surgery, in which there is an expectation that the brain will be starved with blood for a substantial period.
Okay, well, let's move on then, because the next stage is that the spinal cord is cut with a very sharp knife to minimize damage, and the donor head is then moved onto the recipient's body, and the spinal cord is fused together with a substance called polyethylene glycol, which is hope will repair the joint. I mean, I can just about remember my organic chemistry. That doesn't sound like a particularly sophisticated substance.
Yeah. Well, it's a form of glue, and again, the idea of cutting the spinal cord sharply rather than bluntly has a little medical support. And the only successful or the well-recognised success of spinal cord injury surgery came from a man who had a stab injury rather than a blunt injury to the cord.
I mean, I've got to ask you, at this point, someone is having their head cut off, which most people would normally define as death. Really, I mean, is it okay to cut someone's head off for a doctor to do it?
Well, I'm not sure any of this is really okay, and it requires a little more thought, doesn't it? But yes, your point is entirely reasonable. At what point one dies, I believe your ethicist might have a consideration about that. But the heart is routinely stopped in open heart surgery. Of course, in cardiac surgery, that's no longer unusual.
So this is the next step, putting together the muscle and the blood vessels. I mean, has this ever been done on this scale?
On this scale, no, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then we move on, and the body after the operation is successful is kept in a coma for several weeks to prevent people moving, presumably so everything fuses together.
Yeah, I presume. I mean, one can reattach or screw together the spinal column, and that's done very regularly for injuries and so forth. And that those people do not need to be kept in a coma. The idea of this, I presume, is to allow the gluing of the spinal cord to take root and so forth. But again, that is very speculative to be.
I mean, we have seen arms and legs reattached.
Of course, yes, many times, yeah.
But that's a lot simpler than doing a spinal cord.
Well, the spinal cord is, of course, to state the obvious, the central issue here. And an arm and leg have nerves, have arteries, veins, and muscles and bones. But the issue here is about someone with a spinal cord which is functioning, has a neurological function, however difficult, is facing having that completely removed.
Well, thought that was interesting.
Wow. I mean, I thought the latest news in transplants was the artificial kidney and the bio pig kidney, but wow. Okay, I mean,
right.
Where do we start with that? You know what I'm? Yeah. That's. You know what's crazy? I can't help but to think of like RoboCop. Remember the movie RoboCop? How they planted this dude, and it was in the future, where we're talking about this right now as a thing where, like, experimental, but who knows, in 20, 25 years, this might be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Let me ask you this though. If something, and they came to it and they wanted you to do this, how would you feel about this, Philip? Like, okay, they didn't have to convince me to get a kidney transplant. I was all for it. And I know you are too. But they're gonna take your head and put it on another body. Wow.
That's
how would you feel about it?
Honestly, I have no clue right now. Like, that's just, I think it's one of those things where, like you're saying, like, as time goes, it probably gets, I don't want to say perfected, but they learn more of it as it goes. Because it seems like they did, if nothing else, they did the research on it. They explained it.
Yeah.
They explained it very well to the T on how it goes step by step and how they do it. Even tell you're gonna be in a coma for some time after the fact, so we can give it time for everything to reattach itself and do this and XYZ. And so they did their due diligence and their work with it. It's not like something they were just like, oh, we got an idea. Let's try to put a head on somebody else. Like, that's kind of weird. That is something that you can't even come out with until you know the specifics from left to right on how this is going to go. Like, they even tell it's going to be, your spinal cord is going to be cut with a real sharp knife. And so information like that lets me know that they were able to, kind of go with what they think, what has worked in the past with other things, what hasn't, what can work in this situation, what couldn't, things like that. So, I mean, right now you say asking me now, I don't know.
Yeah. I believe they've probably already done it with cadavers, where they had to have something they've done it with already, where if it's an animal or cadavers or somebody consented, I'm pretty sure they've done it already, and now they want to do it. But with that being said, though, what in your life? Okay, I'm gonna get my head transplanted onto this other body. I mean, like, what happens to make you go do that? Like, we know if your liver goes out, you need a new liver. If your kidneys go out, you need a new kidney. We're talking about transplanting heads. Even when you talk about amputees, I think they have the information right now with the stem cells and stuff where they literally can make you a 3D kidney for yourself. They can literally make you a 3D liver, a 3D heart, things like that. You know, but what's the circumstances where you need to put a head on a body? That's what I'm talking about. Like, you feel me? Like,
Yeah.
what happened to you where okay, we gotta take your head and put it on another body? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what happened to your physical, your body, where your head is still good? Okay, is it like okay, my brain is still good, but my body is not working properly, so therefore they're gonna, cut the head off and put it on another body, or what? That it sounds so crazy right now, but just like what we're gonna talk about with the, it sounds crazy because it's even saying it sounds wild, but I remember, Dr. Montgomery was the one at NYU that did the pig kidney that he just did a couple weeks ago. Everybody been talking about it. And Dr. Montgomery, if you remember, he was in my documentary. That was my
Mm-hmm.
search at Johns Hopkins University, and I remember him talking about that. We had conversations off, camera and stuff because I was at the hospital for over 60 days. So I remember him talking about that, like, hey, we're talking about doing pigs and stuff. And that was, 15 years ago. And I was like, what? Y'all talking about? And that was weird to me saying it did, but now it's rolling off the tongue pretty normal. And then I heard other people talking about it and I got kind of used to it. Like, okay, they talking about, pigs being, implanted, and implanted in people and stuff like that. It sounds normal. But the head off of a person into another body, it doesn't even sound normal to me right now. So I guess eventually we will be seeing these things. Reminds me of RoboCop.
Yeah, it definitely sounds. And you asked a question that's actually gonna go into my next video, but trying to figure out circumstances of where you would need this to happen. And the
Yeah,
first
that's
thing
what
that
I'm
kind
like.
of come to mind would be, no functions of your hands, your face gone or something where,
Where the
maybe
spinal
it's the
cord got
body that
severed,
they're trying to
you know,
keep.
maybe somebody got paralyzed and the spinal cord got damaged in some type of way. Where okay,
Hmm.
we're gonna do this to you now. And somebody wants to go through that. Where they can have a quality of life and stuff. But it's so many nerves. Just me moving my arm right now. From the head to the. How do they put all those nerves back together? And even let's talk about this. Let's talk about the emotional side. Like what happens with our emotions is a heartfelt thing. We feel emotions when we're around certain energies and frequencies. We get it right here. It might feel like it's here, but it's really in your heart. You get a heart feeling. Even when if you fall in love, you feel the emotions in your heart more than just your head. How
Right.
does that work? I mean, what goes on right there? I got so many questions. You blew my mind because you didn't even say what you was gonna put on it.
Right.
You like, man, I got this video. You didn't say nothing about that.
I figured it was gonna throw you for a loop because you didn't ask me.
You,
Normally you send it to me so I could watch it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, he didn't ask.
right. Yeah.
I'm like, he's gonna be blown away by this one. So, but
I was, man, I'm
that's a good
blown.
question. That's a good question, man. The emotional side to it. But I got another question that goes along with the emotional side to it. So with organs, um, I don't want to
I
say.
believe you get organs. You do get the emotions. You do get different
Well,
emotions, especially from the heart.
well, no,
I believe you do.
well, my question was going to be with organs, um, ethnicity and age and things like that. They do and they don't play a vital part in figuring out where this organ because uh, a grown person can get one from a 18, 19 year old or whatever the case may be, right? So my question is, does that play a role in assigning these things together, somebody's head with somebody's body? Because if I'm African American and they're like, okay, well, we found somebody, and let's say you go into a coma or something like that before they're able to give you the logistics of it, and you wake up and your head is black and your body is white, and you like, well, what just happened to my whole body? Like, like does that play a part in that? Does it
Man.
matter? Does it,
Woo,
I mean,
woo.
that's something you
I
got
didn't
to
even
think
think about
about.
that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I didn't even think
and
about
that
that.
goes to the emotional side too. Because you got some people who would think, I don't even care. I'm here. I'm alive. But then you got that other side of the world that'll just like, for real. You
Yeah,
put my
man, I
head
agree with that.
on.
You, right. On a different nationality's body where some people don't care. I mean, Jackie donated her kidney. Jackie's a African American black lady who was my donor, but the kidney I received is Liz, and Liz is a Greek lady. She's Caucasian and Caucasian rather, and Liz, Liz is Greek, and so that's the kidney in me. So but with that being said, the kidney came from a white person, but I'm still black, so
Right.
for the outside, but we see these things happening all the time. Even everybody in our swap, another lady got a kidney from another man, I believe that was I think different nationalities. But the point I'm making is we're starting to see those like it's normal. Like I ain't got no problem with that. That works. But yeah, what if you are a different nationality and all of a sudden you wake up and you're a, you, you somebody else? I mean, but do they tell you? Do they warn you? Do they tell you? All right, man. I know you was a dude, but we about to put a woman. You gonna be a woman.
Right. That I was trying not to go there, but I mean, we're there at this point now, so there's no turning back on
I
it.
mean,
But
if we talk about hey, we gotta be there because we talking about taking heads and putting them on bodies now.
yeah,
That's like Frankenstein type stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother level of Frankenstein. If I mean, not in a disrespectful way because the science is there. The young surgeon was right there, like, yeah, we doing these, and I ain't mad
right.
at him because they always pushing the envelope on what's really going on in this world,
Hmm.
and to save lives, you got to do those things. But what it's mind blowing that we're talking about stuff like that. And what's another thing? What's kind of weird? If we're talking about stuff like that, if we're talking and we're seeing these things, manifest, then why do we have people waiting on the kidney list? Why do we have people waiting when it seems like we can be moving on? Where if we're talking about doing stuff like that, we shouldn't even have anybody on a waiting list for a kidney. A kidney shouldn't be it should be an available product as far as maybe doing them in a stem cell way where they take your DNA, form you a kidney, place it in your body. You ain't even got to do no medications like I do. You know what I'm saying? You do no anti-rejection medications because the kidney is from stem cells of yours. So therefore, they just placing the kidney in you. It's your DNA. No way it's gonna reject. It's just a kidney. Why aren't we even talking about that when we've seen these clones? We've cloned animals, we've cloned all these things already. And if we're talking about, putting a head on a cadaver, I mean, a head on another person, you would think we'll be farther down the line. We're just taking a organ out of another person, putting it in a person. You would think we would be past that kind of. You follow what I'm saying though? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's crazy because when you mentioned the gentleman that you're dealing with kidney care coaches earlier, and when you said Illinois, the first thing that came to my mind was something that I saw last night on YouTube, and I was gonna bring it up, but I'm gonna wait. That's something that can be done entirely as a whole show. So I'm gonna bring it up, show it later. But I want you to go look up, and when we get all done, if you got time, man, go look up Doctor. I want to say her name is either Diney or Denise. It's Dinee Simpson. She's at the University of Northwestern, and she developed. Let me see if I can get this completely right. Um, she's a nephrologist, transplant surgeon at Northwestern, and she started her own program at Northwestern for African Americans that are there to get kidney transplants, and it's called the African American Transplant Access Program.
Okay.
She's doubled the percentage of people that have come through Northwestern that are African American getting kidney transplants. The number was, I believe they said, was 18% or something like that were able to get them, and it's doubled since she started that program. So she's doing good things out there, you know. And so that's all. It's like, you know, but then you said he's at Ohio State, which is just as good as Northwestern. So, but so we'll get to that on another day. But so I'm gonna move into this next video, and it kind of attaches itself to also kind of what we just watching, and the question that you were posing earlier of what position would you be in to need that to happen to you. So let me see. Give me 1 second.
For 22-year-old Joe DeMeo, it's more than a first-of-its-kind surgery. It's a science.
It really did get my life back. Just getting back to working out and doing normal things now.
Joe was just 19 when a fiery car wreck burned 80% of his body with the injury. Until doctors at NYU Medical Center decided Joe was the perfect candidate for something that had only been attempted twice before, never successfully. A face and double hand transplant, much more difficult than a single organ transplant, because the amount of skin, in addition to muscle, bone, and nerves, makes it more prone to rejection. And Joe's immune system was so sensitive after all he had been through, he only had a 6% chance of finding a donor. Then last August, doctors found that needle in the haystack.
We found this perfect donor with the ideal matching profile. Not only the antibody profile, but the skin color match, the skeletal structure, the length of the arms.
In a 23-hour surgery, a massive team of doctors in 2 operating rooms gave Joe a new face, forearms, and hands. 5 months later, he's lifting weights, working on his golf swing, and inspiring.
There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and never give up. Always find a way to do things.
Doctors say Joe is the future of transplants for so many with devastating injuries. A wonder of science, now ready to face the world. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News.
You on mute still.
That's amazing, man. And they talking about Joe lifting weights. That's crazy.
Right.
That's all right. What's amazing more than anything is, when you showed him, he looked almost kind of like the same way he looked at it, and his hands look good. I mean, wow. You know what I'm saying? It's wow, man. My first kidney, I'm an old dude. My first kidney was in 93. So when you told people back then, I got a kidney transplant, people were blown away. Like, what? You got a kidney transplant? Nowadays you hear, oh, I got a kidney transplant. Especially for us. We're like, okay, that's good. We're happy that, but Ohio State is doing them. I remember talking to them. They were doing them on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. So for years. And so just like Hopkins, just like, all these other hospitals, they do them routinely every week, So we're starting to see so many more people with kidneys and stuff like that. And it's common now. We're starting to see more people. It's common. Don't get me wrong. It's still serious, but it's more common. Can you imagine how one day it'll be common that we see people getting face transplants and hand transplants and, people getting kidney transplants? And, it's going to be, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's common. It's still serious, but it's more common. Can you imagine how one day it'll be common that we see people getting face transplants and hand transplants and, people getting kidney transplants? And even the doctor said, it was such a mate, everything lined up where his color, the same color of who he was perfect. There was a woman in the right now. She made the news a couple weeks ago that she didn't want to she was on the list to get a transplant, but she didn't want to get the COVID shot. So she's didn't get the transplant because she wouldn't get the COVID shot. Now, that's her right. I ain't hating on her. She can do what she wants to do. But imagine, somebody like, I'm not gonna get these hands because they're a different color. You know what I'm saying?
No, go ahead, give me them hands. Go ahead, sew them boys on, and let's get to going. I'm not complaining,
but somebody might be like that, because this lady was like,
definitely will.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So because the lady's like, I ain't taking that kidney because I'm not getting this shot. Now, mind you, she's on dialysis, and she's like, hey, look, I don't care. This is what I believe in. And I ain't mad at her. That's her choice. She can do what she feels like doing. But we're talking about a shot opposed to, will be one day where somebody's like, hey, I didn't want them hands because they was a different color. Or their hands were smaller than what my hands were. Who knows, man? These things we're bringing up right now might be an issue one day.
I mean, it's like you bringing up the COVID shot, right? It's crazy because I got that same story from my transplant coordinator on Friday. She was telling me about a lady, she didn't want to get the COVID shot, and so she was like, she'll wait. What she was waiting for, I don't know. But then she ended. So the crazy part about this is that people have their ways of going about things, right? And this particular lady, she went her way and she got her kidney, right? And I was like,
hold on. She got her kidney without getting the COVID shot?
Without the shot.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Unless this story that she told me was false, that's how that story went.
I just can't even see no doctors doing it like that. I'm gonna keep it real, man. I can't see no doctors doing, because look at all the shots you get. Even when you go to grade school, right before you go to jump into grade school, you getting shots. You getting immune. You getting this, all kinds of stuff. So that's what I'm saying. And I want to know who this lady. I mean, wow, okay, because I thought honestly.
But look, that you said that is gonna go into my next video, bro, and it's so the thing is with my next video, right? Because you saying about the COVID shot, what's the difference with somebody getting one and not getting a shot than them transplanting somebody with somebody who had it with COVID?
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Now watch this.
Sounds of celebration. COVID patients finally heading home after long hospital stays. But Renata, like this week was extra special.
I feel wonderful.
After a surgical first, he went home with two new lungs.
He's the first in the United States to receive COVID double lung.
Renato, a blood technician, worked going into the hospital even during the pandemic. But a year ago today, he drove himself to the hospital for a different reason, shortened from COVID-19. After months on a ventilator, his niece was told to plan his funeral.
I did all the arrangements, and then the next day, he proved us wrong. He wanted to live.
He was placed on the lung donor list, and a week later, got the news.
Love you.
His lungs came from someone who had a mild to moderate case of COVID and later died from an unrelated medical issue.
With the right procedures in place, it's absolutely safe to use those organs.
I know. Thank you is not enough.
Hope for others.
He's going to be doing karaoke soon.
And for Renato, a second chance.
I'm going to be a singer.
You're watching our YouTube channel.
Wow, man, that's amazing. Wow. So, yeah, you just brought something up that was. I mean, Bernardo, man, congratulations, sir. I'm happy that he was. They were making his last final,
His arrangements
information for him, his arrangements. But my man is he was like, no, I'm here. I got some reasons to live. That's amazing. But again, just like you just brought something up before that though. So if they was to give you, you didn't get your kidney transplant because you didn't want COVID shot, but the person that gave it to you, kidney, they have COVID. What happens right then? So do you say no? I don't want the kidney because the kidney comes from a person that had COVID, or had COVID shots. So these things are gonna come up, and it's gonna be more and more of these things coming up, man. With people's rights.
Yeah, it's
I really don't believe. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think it should be up to people's rights if they want the shot or not like that. I don't agree with people making you get it, but COVID is serious though, and COVID's real. But I keep it real. I got my shots. I got all 3 of mine. So, but I don't think forcing people to not have job. You're gonna lose your job because you don't have it and things like that. Wow, that's real challenging. I have a challenge with that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and the thing about the video that we just watched, and if anybody's that comes in later, we just watched 3 videos that change a lot of things in this world when it comes to transplant life. But the one we just watched, when you think about it, what's crazy about that video is this. It's not so much of the fact that that person had COVID. It's the addition to the fact that the part that COVID attacks is your lungs. You put somebody's lungs that had it in somebody else who had it, granted it's a lot different from if you're transplanting this person as they're having COVID, then yeah, that may be a little bit more of a risk. But if they're cleared of COVID, but they're suffering with this issue of lung damage and things of that nature, and you transplant, okay, that's a little bit of a different story. But then now you have to go and see, are the lungs that you're transplanting into somebody, are they clear of COVID? Like, do they, are they?
I believe they were. I mean, they might have some residual. You're right about that, but would you agree that the doctors oversaw those kidneys and made sure they were clear of COVID before they put them in? Even the person had a mild case. I mean, I'm pretty sure they got clear, but who knows? You're right about that. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason why we're on this side of it and they're on that side, So, but we can go ahead and hit a commercial real quick, and we can come back and I know Mr. Cook has some things that he wants to talk about, and so we can get on those. Yeah. We'll be right back. Welcome back to a second
Yeah.
chance. Go ahead, Mr. Cook.
Oh well, you just blew me away with the topics I wanted to talk about. I mean, I'm talking right. I mean, I can't lie to you. What you told me, what you just showed me, that kind of blew me away. But with that being said, I wanted to talk about the latest information coming out on organ transplants itself. Even though we just got to talking about transplanting hands and faces and heads. My transplant doctor, Dr. Robert Montgomery, who is also a heart transplant recipient. I believe he had his heart transplant 3 years ago. I just wanted to shout out to him. Congratulations, Dr. Montgomery. He just did a transplant at NYU for the first time with a pig kidney. Now, he did that and it was successful. What they did was they took a cadaver and they hooked up this biogenetic uh, pig kidney, and they put it on the cadaver's leg, and they hooked it up, and the kidney worked for 54 hours with no rejection. Well, it wasn't in the body, so it didn't reject that way, but overall, it worked really good for 54 hours with a cadaver. Now I know that was really good information. What they did was awesome, and I know they're going to expand on that. And like I told you, Phil, I was with Dr. Montgomery for a long period of time. We were on, we did a documentary with National Geographic. Yeah, he was, like I said, he was my doctor. And I remember, him talking about, doing, pig kidneys and stuff like that when I was getting my kidney. And I was like, wow, y'all talk about stuff like that. This is crazy. But, and now this stuff is here, so that's pretty remarkable. But I just wanted to shout out Dr. Montgomery and NYU for doing that. That's big stuff. Now, when that will come to fruition, where people can sign up to get these different types of organs, where you know just like yourself, we're waiting for a kidney to be available. Let me ask you this though: would you if it was like right now and they said the pig kidney is ready to go, would you do that, Philip?
I'm going to give the same answer that you when you asked me about the artificial one. If I'm able to stay on the list, if anything was to happen with that particular kidney, then yes. But as we all know, um, nothing will ever be an actual kidney from an actual person, right? That goes without being said. So if I'm able to be in a position
How do we
where
know that though? How do we know that? How do we know that? You know what I'm saying? This artificial kidney might be more durable. Who knows? Especially what they talking about the cells in it and stuff like that. We don't know these things though, so we can't say that.
let
I
me put it like this: until they come out and are able to say publicly that there's nothing better, they've done the years of research and have the numbers and have seen it personally with their own eyes and things of that nature. Until that point, just like we all know, living a living donor, is kind of the way to go. So until they can
living
give
donor right now is the best. Is right. Living donor right now is the best situation. I agree with that. But with the way they're working on this technology, we don't know. I think honestly, and this isn't even an option yet, but I still think the best way to do any of these organ transplants or anything as far as a transplant is concerned, I still say the stem cell way, and they're not talking about doing that right now, but just with the artificial kidney, questions arise. Just with the pig kidney, questions arise. You know, with the pig kidney. Now, people, let me tell you, understand that this was a cloned. I don't know if it was a cloned pig, but the pig was structured in a certain way. Okay, they just didn't get the pig off the farm and get the kidney and then do it like that. It didn't work like that. And another thing, if you ever looked at a pig kidney, hey Chef, if you ever looked at a pig kidney, you'd be surprised. It looks almost like a human. It's kind of set up the same way and everything, where the aorta, all the blood, wherever it goes, is almost set up the same way. With that being said, I still say the stem cell, and that's not even an option right now. They're not even talking about that. But the stem cell to me would be the best situation because of the simple fact if they did it like that, you ain't got to use no drugs. You ain't all the anti-rejection medication, all that stuff's out the window. They just plant you a kidney with the regular DNA you have in your body, you're out. So with that being said, but my question with all these things, and let's go into the artificial kidney now. Mr. Kidney did a special on the artificial kidney, and people are like, "Hey, that's all the news. We don't want to know when it's going to come out. How's it going to work?" I still think these things are in developmental stages because we don't know how you would put an artificial kidney into somebody and what kind of medications does that take? You know what I mean? Because this is an artificial situation, so You know, does your body reject this artificial thing? Do they implant it in the inside of you? Do they plant it on the outside of you? You know, these questions remain to be haven't been truly answered yet. So,
Right.
is there going to be? Do you think it'll be another 5 to 10 years before this thing can even come to fruition, where somebody can literally get sedated, get opened up, and get an artificial kidney put in them? I wonder when that date will come.
Yeah, and how long it's going to take to get to that date?
Right.
You know, I mean, anything that's medical takes time. It's not something they can just pop up and say, "All right, we perfected it. It's done. We know what we're doing." You know, it takes years of trials and test runs and things that nature. Like you come to mentioning about the head transplant that we watched about earlier in the show. You know, have they done that before? Have they done it with a cadaver? You know, those things have to happen in order to come up with a definite answer. You know, somebody or something has to go through this in order to get answers. It's not something that you could just like put stuff together in your mind and come up with something and be, all right, I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. You know, you think you do. You have an assumption, but you don't have a definite answer until it's done for sure.
Right. Yeah, I don't even know. I really, going back to the head kidney. I mean, the head transplant. What kind of anti-rejection medications do you take for that? She's right. It's going to happen.
You said which one
It's
again?
going to happen. But I said, what kind of anti-rejection medications do you take for a head transplant? You know,
Yeah.
That's we could sit here and ask all kinds of questions and wonder if they're gonna ever get answered, wonder if they're gonna ever get answered, because she's right. What she said is going to happen. Yes, it's going to happen. That's why we're talking about it right now. I was on Mr. Kidney's show last Thursday, and I told him, I said, man, you know what? With what's going on right now in the transplant world and everything, I said, this is a good time to be living because there's so many new things going on right now that Phil, you and I could be talking 20 years from now. Like, man, remember we was talking about that on the podcast? The head. Now we know. Hey, Dave got another head transplant. Whatever, man. We can be talking about somebody we actually. You know what I mean? Just like we talk to people with heart, lung, liver transplants 100 years ago. That was, man. Can you imagine my grandfather and his people? My great grandfather right now, if he was living, he was like, "What? They talking about doing what?" That's the same way we're talking about with a head transplant now.
Right.
But the kids, for 20 to 30 years from now, they be like, "Oh, my boy Dave got a head transplant." I mean, it'd be just like that. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, if it was 1821, they wouldn't do no kidney transplant. That wasn't happening. If your kidneys went out, it was a wrap. So think about them people talking about stuff like that right now. So imagine, how we're talking about stuff right now where 20, 30 years from now, your boy up the street got a head transplant. I mean, it could be just like that,
Yeah.
Joe just got some hands and a face transplant.
Right.
Joe in the gym working out.
But working on his golf swing.
Working on his golf swing. I ain't mad at Joe.
Oh, I'm happy for Joe. Shoot, still able to go out and live his life, even though he had to go through that horrible situation that he had to go through to get to the point in his life where he's happy again, which is a good thing to see. I mean, he went through a long time of having to go through pain and suffering. To have all that part of his body suffering from burns, and I mean, it takes a person a long time to recover from burns and like they just sitting in the hospital and they have to deal with the fact that nerve damage and things of that nature. Just the touch of a sponge or a towel to clean them hurts. Like,
Yes.
That's a
Well,
long
the
time.
skin grafts. Yes, the skin grafts, all that. Man, that's vicious, man. So I can only imagine the pain that he went through. But hey, he's doing his thing right now. Hats off to Joe. Joe's doing his thing. But again, Mr. Kenny and I were talking. I said, man, it's a great time right now to be living because all these new things are happening. But going back to the head transplant, I feel those doctors might have did a cadaver or something, and they had some real success because right now when the news get it, these guys have already perfected the situation. It's
Yeah.
almost kind of like okay, I'm in the cars, and so when you do an engine swap, you put the engine in. Okay, now you got to do the wiring. Well, some of these cars got wiring harnesses where you just connect it, connect. I wonder if it'll be something like that where they just, it's almost like that with a kidney. They place the kidney in physically, and then they connect. They connect the blood supply. They use a catheter, a stent for the urine. They hook that up. Then they hook up your bladder. They hook up all these things, and then all of a sudden, you're ready to go. And I'm just making it. It's not that easy, but I'm just saying
Right.
that's just basically how they do it. Almost kind of like a kidney swap to a engine swap. It's crazy, but that's why I'm thinking like what it looks like almost reminds me of RoboCop. For this guy getting a head transplant where all right, we just hook up everything. What's crazy about the hookup to me though is, you know, when they hook you up in an organ or a heart, lung, liver, they can open you up and see what's going on and work with you and stuff like that. How do they open you up right here and hook up your spinal cord and all that? That's like you're dealing with a fine little area.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure it's a lot more to it than what what was said. I'm sure there's a whole lot more to it. And I was just glad that they didn't try to overdo the explanation and say more, say more than they should have. They gave the right amount of information, like, this is, what's gonna happen. As of right now, this is how we do things, certain eyes, doing this, doing that, the body cool down temperature part of it and all that stuff. So, I mean, but that's, like I said, man, that's just, it's a weird situation to be in for them to come to you like, hey, we've kind of, we're 95% into this thing right now. And we want to know if you want to, we can save it. We can save you, but we got to put you on somebody else. And you like, wait, what? Like you cutting it smooth off and just going to attach it to somebody else. Like what goes through your mind in that situation?
Right. Well, think about this though. Think about this. Imagine the first person to have a kidney transplant. Imagine that. Now that person got into the hospital. They're like, okay. Now I don't know if you know, man. I've done the history on dialysis. The way they did dialysis back in like the 40s and 50s, they that's when it like started like a little bit. It might be a little bit earlier than that. You were on this crazy machine, man, and you were on there for like 18, 19 hours. And this thing, it cleansed the blood, put the blood back in you, but it was like really primitive. Okay, it was like some real primitive stuff. The first kidney machines and things like that. Imagine them when they go. Okay, we're going to the first person. He was probably on this machine. She was. He was. I can't remember, but I did remember that it was a person. Apparently, it had to be a person. And they told him, we're going to take this other organ out of somebody and we're going to put it in you. I know they was blown away just like, talking about the head transplant. The first person, They was probably like, what? Y'all going to do what? And this person had to be revolutionized. You know, they were a revolutionary type of person. So they was like, okay, let's do it. If it wasn't for them, and if it wasn't for the progress of dialysis, kidney dialysis, to where it's at right now, you and I wouldn't even be talking to each other.
Yeah. No, like you said, somebody had to do it. You know, it had to be done by somebody. You know, now I'm glad it happened when it did, because if that person said no, who knows how long it could have taken after that to actually find somebody who was willing to go through it, right? So that person saying yes and it working and doing what it did, which got other people to say yes, which gave them, which technically, you know, the people who came after that was kind of, I don't want to make it seem like they were test person or something, but it was practice for doctors, because in order for you to understand it, get it right, you have to do it consistently, you know. And like you said, it had to be done on a person. You know, it wasn't like they could just, like, you know, build a person and organs and put it in there and try. In that case, everybody have organs, and if that was the case, right? So, you know, I think whoever that first person was, and the thing that I've learned about history is that just because it said, oh, this was the first person to do it, doesn't always mean that that was the first person to do it. Sometimes it could have been somebody that wasn't, you know, when it comes to stuff that was like, oh, not everything like it is now was written down, you know, or taken note of. So, you know, this might just be the first person that we know of that was, you know, historically documented as the first person. It could have been somebody else that they, you know, was on their way out and they was like, let's bring this person in and try it on them, you know, they in a coma or something like that, where at that time it wasn't like, oh, we need written consent, you know, put your John Hancock right here and you know, tell me that you understand. So it's, you know, I'm grateful because, like you said, man, if it wasn't for that first person, you know, we wouldn't be here right now. Especially like you know, dialysis, you know, the modernization of that, of coming from where it was to what it is now. You know, who knows? Like, who knows how many people really can fight through 18, 19 hours of dialysis a day? Like, that is, I hated 4 hours.
Right.
I hated 4. And I got to do 18, 19? Nah.
Right. The most, you know, and even before that, man, my mom told me that she had a aunt who came and lived with them, and my mom's 86 years old. So my mom had a aunt that came and lived with them, and her kidneys weren't working right. And she had to use some. I forget. I'm gonna ask my mom so I can know this information. But my mom told me her kidneys weren't working right. Something was going on, and I distinctly remember my mom said they didn't have any. You know, for one, she was black, and they ain't even had nothing like dialysis at the time. You know, because it wasn't available like it is now, where I can get on the web right now and find out the nearest dialysis center. You know, it wasn't even like that. You know, you could, if there was a place doing dialysis, more than likely it was a hospital. More than likely, you know, you didn't have access to it. So my mom,
especially a black person having access to it.
That's what I'm talking about. And my mom's 86, so we're talking about early 1940s, 1950s, and stuff like that. So there wasn't no access to things like that. So, and my mom told me she passed, you know, because her kidneys failed, but she was doing something for her kidneys. I'm gonna ask my mom when I talk to her and see what she says. But yeah, you didn't even have access to things like that, you know. So it blows my mind, even to, you know, I keep it real, man. I was always thankful for dialysis, and I know you are too. You know, I hear a lot of people shaming it. I hate it. Man, look, if it wasn't for dialysis, I couldn't live my life. I couldn't be doing what I'm doing, you know, right now. Keep it real, you know. It sustained me.
I usually put it like this. Do I hate doing it? Yes, but I'm grateful. I'm
Right.
grateful to
I
have
get that.
it because without it, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
But it's part of my fight. It's what's keeping me here to continue my fight.
Right.
Like I said, I hate having to hook up every night and beeping at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and things like that. But I'm 100% grateful that somebody took the time to develop something like this and a group of people to continue to develop, home hemodialysis, peritoneal dialysis, even in-center dialysis, because like we've had this conversation before. Everybody's body is different in some kind of way. So we know a number of people who, like you were saying, you did PD for a amount of time, but you had an issue. Your body probably wasn't up to withstand it for that,
Well,
amount of time,
I was
right?
good until my peritoneal sac burst. Once
Right.
my peritoneal sac burst,
It was a wrap.
I got septic.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we know a number of people who they were like, man, I hated peritoneal dialysis. I'm doing way better on hemo. That's them. That's their body. My body is doing 10 times better on peritoneal dialysis than it was on hemo, right? And maybe we'll go to school, maybe to work, maybe we'll travel, maybe we'll do this and that. And so I'm grateful for dialysis in general and the evolve of it at this point, and where it's going from this point on for people in the in the future, kids, adults, whatever the case may be, for them to continue to live their lives and do things and thrive. So, and am I happy to be on it? Yes and no. It's like, yeah, because it's here.
Yeah.
But then it's like, no, because who wants to be on it, right? So, but again, like I said, very grateful for it, because without dialysis, I probably, wouldn't be. I've told this part of my story before. I don't have kidneys, right? So mine were removed in 2010 and 2011, 2 different surgeries. They did a surgery to remove my native ones and a surgery to remove my my transplanted kidney. So since early 2011, I've been living my life on dialysis with no kidneys. So without this machine, I wouldn't have made it, right? Something would have happened without dialysis, or because they wouldn't have been able to remove it without dialysis. And if I would have had to keep them, I had horrible blood pressure problems, which was the reason why they removed it, right? So if I would have had to leave him in and deal with I probably would have died from high blood pressure problems or something, or whatever the case may be. So very grateful for it. I don't wish anybody to be on it unless they need to be. So it's one of those things. It's just like, I hate it, but I love it. I hate it, but I love it.
Right.
So
Love-hate. It's a love-hate situation. I got you. And I just want to give some shout outs though, man, to Erica and Let There Be Life. Hope she's having a great recovery. Jonathan put a post there. Jonathan, our dude, Jonathan Trailer, he put a post out that pray for his family. So I hit him up on Facebook, praying for you, Jonathan. Shell Allen, she's doing wonderful with her new kidney. Seen her pop on. Just want to say congratulations. I hope she's doing well. I know she feel good. Also want to say I was with my boy, the legendary Scarface, this weekend. Man, he watched him perform. He did his thing. He got a kidney transplant from his son Christopher. Christopher's doing well, and Brad's doing good. I just wanted to shout them out too, man. They did his thing in concert. So I just wanted to, give some shout outs to the people that I know that just recently got kidney transplants and doing well. And shout out to, people going through what they're going through.
Oh, I second all those shout outs. I mean, I was going to say something at the end, but he beat me to the punch. So,
my bad.
No, you good. No, hey man, it's done. I'd probably been upset if it didn't get done. So you did it. So I'm not upset at all.
Well, it was just on my heart to say. It was just on my heart to shout out. And like I said, man, I can only imagine Shell feels good every morning she gets up. She's feeling wonderful, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. So that's how I'm. I know you feel good, Phil, but I can't wait till you get one too. Brad, Scarface laughs at me because he'd be like, "Man, you more happier than me." I said, "Man, because I know you feel so good, man." I said, "I know you feel so good." And I can't wait. You get yours, and I know you'll be feeling so good too. Like, whoo, I'm ready to go. And everybody I work with at Kidney Care Coaches, once they get theirs, and the ones that are even in stage 3, we're trying to prevent you from going that route. You know what I'm saying? If we can prevent it at stage 3, look at it. I feel great. Thank you, Philip is next. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's what's up.
I'm trying to be like y'all.
Right. Yeah, but like I said though, at Kidney Care Coaches, even the people that are on stage 3, we're trying to stop you right there so you can continue on, and thrive. Not going to the later stages. But go ahead, Phil. I just been running my mouth, man. I'm done.
Nah, man. I never argue with you running your mouth because 10 times out of 10, it's something good. So I sit back and chill.
Thank you.
So, but I want to give a shout out to, and I know I'm gonna probably butcher this name, but Dr. Diney Simpson at University of Northwestern for what she's doing for African Americans trying to get kidneys and making her program. We'll definitely, we might even do a separate show on that because I think that's something that's important that people need to know about. People of color and period need to know about that there's another avenue.
Hopefully we can get her on the show, man.
Yeah, you already know I'm already trying that one. I've definitely been looking, so definitely gonna try to get that to happen. Because she's definitely a pioneer for sure. Mr. Kidney, Sam, doing great work over there, man, on his YouTube channel. Mr. Cook's been on this show a number of times as well, telling his story and talking about a number of things. And he'll actually be on our show on the 11th on Veterans Day. We're there to honor him as well as all other veterans as well for serving our nation. And then Kelsey Reed, CKD nutrition coach, she'll be on our channel on the 18th to speak on how to shop with chronic kidney disease, which is something that we all need to know, especially around the holiday times because we want to eat these good foods, macaroni and cheese and yams and things like that. The good foods.
Slow down.
Right. But there are ways to eat these things, but still monitor it at the same time with certain ingredients that you may put in there. There's ways to substitute certain things and still get that same taste that you're looking for. So we're definitely gonna sit down with her and have her speak on those things. Next Thursday we have the kidney conference that myself, Mr. Cook, and Mr. Jonathan Trailer put together. And we're looking forward to this. We have 4 wonderful professionals coming on to speak to you all. Kelsey Reed will be on that as well. Sally Trayor, pharmacist in the Baltimore area, will be on to speak to you all.
Also a kidney transplant recipient.
Dr. Dale Gift, cardiologist at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, will speak to you guys about how to take care of your heart to also take care of your kidney, because all that stuff is connected some kind of way. So
heart, lung, liver, all 3 work together.
Right. So we want to make sure that you guys are knowledgeable in those areas. And this is a preventative conference. So this is how to prevent it. So definitely, all the transplant patients, tell your families, your friends, send them the link. It should be. It's definitely on my page. We're gonna get the StreamYard connected to Mr. Cook's YouTube as well for kidney care coaches and Jonathan Trailers. Probably tomorrow. It'll be up there soon. And we're looking forward to this. We've been working on this for about 2 months now.
Yeah, we have been working on it for 2 months. But let me say something though. I think everybody out there needs to tune into this because the prevention side is big. If we ounce of prevention, we've heard this before. Ounce of that little bit of prevention can go a long way from you preventing some of these things that we've experienced already. So this doesn't just go out to people with kidney disease. This goes out to everybody. Everybody needs to hear these, these nephrologists, cardiologists, and these pharmaceutical people on here that are very, very talented, giving you this information. And I believe anybody with an ear that hears what's going on in this kidney conference can benefit from this. This is really, really important. And this is why we do things like that, because we want to move the needle in this area. And these prevention tactics are going to help thousands of people so you can know what to do. And we're giving you the tools. We're giving you the tools so you can be healthy. Even if you got some kids, you learn this stuff and you pass it on to your kids pass it on. This is what we need to start doing in these communities. We need to be passing on this good information, and this is what we're doing. That's why it's important that we tell everybody, you tell everybody to tune into these things, because you're hearing from people that work with people all their lives. They do this every day. They work with this. They work with the heart. They work with the lungs. They work with the kidneys. All these people do this every day. And you might be thinking right now, oh, it's not pertaining to me, but it is pertaining to you. And it's pertaining to somebody you probably know. So that's why I'm really, really, conscious about telling people to tune into these, because we're giving you great information and you never know when you might need these tools. But I'd rather have the tools. I'm on the side of the road. I'd rather have my toolbox with me than not.
Right. And not need it than to need it and not have it.
That's it.
Definitely.
I just wanted to say that. Go ahead, Phil.
I do want to kind of piggyback on something that you mentioned earlier. Erica was supposed to be our host for our conference on Thursday, and like Mr. Cook said, she had an incident this week. I won't get into the logistics of it. That's her area to tell if she wants to tell everybody. We're definitely praying for her. She's still going to give her surprise at the end of our conference. We're very grateful to be able to do this for her. You need to be there to know what the surprise is. That's not one we just gonna tell you. So,
right.
but it's something that I think anybody that saw her show when she was on here with us interviewing, you something that you've been looking for, something that she did mention before, and it's something that I think is going to be very inspirational. And it kind of goes with what we're doing and helping people. It's going to help people for years and years and years and years and years with what she has to offer the world. So very grateful for her to still be able to do that with us. Definitely praying for her. I mean, she had this incident, but she also has to take care of her son. And so I know that can be kind of difficult. So Erica, you're definitely in our prayers. Shell, you're in our prayers. Mr. Trailer, your family's in our prayers. Pray for Mr. Drake and the Why Not Foundation. And Mr. Kidney, Shane Blanchard, Ken Bressler. It's Jared Brown.
Our community is strong, man. Our community is strong. We got a lot of love for our community, and we always want to share that love and share those prayers for all our community, man. And And one thing I can say about our community, I love them all, man. We fight that good fight, man. I don't care. We fight that good fight. That's what we do, man.
Yeah,
And we want it for
fight together.
everybody. We want good health for everybody. That's how we get down.
Right. Yeah, man. That's like you said, man. It's a family. It's a community. It's a family. You know, and we're here for each other, which is very important. You know, because not all of us have that. You know, that 100% support from our immediate family. So you need people that are willing to step up and be that support for you and want to pray for you, want to help you, and do things. So, definitely grateful for all of you that have supported us. And you know, in return, we hope we support you on the same level or more. And you know, definitely looking forward to working with more of you. The ones that we have, more. I want to add one thing, and I'm only doing it because I'm very, very excited actually about this. After this conference that we have coming up, Mr. Cook is going to actually do a presentation of his own, stage 1 through 5 presentation. And that's something I'm looking forward to, because that's something else that's definitely going to be informative to help people for years to come in the future. That's needed. You know, that's part of the preventative side too, because if you know what comes with it, you kind of know how to, try to kind of prevent it. So definitely something
you pay attention to the signs. Mm-hmm.
The signs are very important. Definitely important, man.
Yeah.
Go to your doctors, get checked up, talk to them, stay in communication with them. Communicate with them so much that they get tired of you.
That's it. Men, please go to the doctor. I tell all my homies, man, at least go get a physical once a year. You can find out what's going on. That way, if something is going on, they can stop it when it begins. Go get a physical at least once a year. That's all. If you get a good, clean bill of health every year once, you good. You know what I'm saying? If something's going down, they can catch it right away, and you ain't got to go through a whole bunch of crazy stuff first. You know, they can knock it out early. And you hear people saying that, but that's how it works. So all men, that's crazy. Well, I have to tell women, because women go to the doctor. Especially for that's just who they are. They have no problems going to the doctor. You got a lot of men, especially black men. They won't go until something bad. Okay,
right.
Oh, okay, I can't even move. Then they got to we get that old school thought process where I'd rather not know.
Right.
That's how they be, the older black men. I keep it real. I got older black men in my family, so I'm allowed to say something about it. Go get that physical. Go get that checkup, man. That's all. You get that good, clean bill of health. I'd rather you get that good, clean bill of health and you stop procrastinating like, my shoulder feel bad, but I'm going to keep it on. And you don't know what's going on. And when you get that good, clean bill, you feel so much better. You're like, okay, I'm good.
Right.
But we got that thought process where, man, if I'm still keeping on, if I, and I've seen it, man. I've seen it for a number of times, So go get that checkup once a year, people. That's all I got to say.
And my whole thing is this, because I agree with you. If you're gonna tell somebody who's not too fond about going to, at least go once a year. Once a year, it's one doctor's appointment. It may be two if they find something they want to make sure is okay. But think about it like this: if you go and they catch it, like Mr. Cook said, all right, they might prescribe you a medicine. You got one pill you got to take a day, one, maybe two, maybe, right? You don't go and you mess around and end up in a life-threatening situation. Now you got 10 to 15 that you're gonna have to take, because it's not just
and
one.
You gotta go to the doctor, and you might have to get surgery,
and you might have to get surgery.
Other things. Right, and it's a whole bunch of, you open up a big can of worms, man. So if you really, really want to think about it, your money isn't your wealth. Your health is your wealth. And that's where you have to, now people won't miss that job for none in the world, but your health is your wealth. And that's where it's at. I learned that early when I was in the hospital at a young age, but that's another story. But your health is your wealth.
Definitely. So we're gonna go ahead and get up out. I know everybody about to go do their trick or treating things. We want to say, have a safe night. Kids, don't go do nothing stupid because especially all the ones who playing fall sports. Soon as you get caught, you're not playing the rest of the season. So you might as well go ahead, have your fun, walk around, talk to the homies, do things or whatever. But above all else, man, be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of the little ones if you got any with you. Make sure that they straight. Next week we're gonna have Regina Armstrong. Met this wonderful lady maybe about 2 months ago at a Team SoCal meeting we had getting ready for the transplant games. And she has a remarkable story that I cannot wait for you guys to hear. Mr. Drake, good to see you in here, man. Appreciate you. And we definitely hope that you'll be back with us next Sunday. We appreciate the support. Please, if you came in here late, go back, rewatch the episode, share this episode. There's a lot of good information in it. It wasn't our normal show where we're talking to people. We just had a lot of information to talk about within the transplant community, and we hope you enjoy it. And we will see you all next week on Sunday.